Hi there, it's Tracy, and I'm back today with another video for a Jillian Vance design. Halloween is tomorrow, so I thought it would be fun to have one more scary card. The Happy Halloween and the Spidey Web dies fit the bill perfectly. I started out by ink blending a background using Catherine Pooler inks that you can also purchase in the shop at a Jillian Vance design. I used Limoncello, Tutti Fruitti, Lime Rickey, and Flirty Fuchsia for my spooky Halloween night sky. Starting from the bottom with Limoncello, I worked the ink onto a panel of Bristol Smooth cardstock, then I added the Tutti Fruitti ink, and then blended them together where the transition between the colors was. I spent some time working these two colors together so that I had a nice seamless blend. Next I added in the Lime Rickey, doing the same technique, blending it together at the transition between it and the Tutti Fruitti. Finally, the Flirty Fuchsia. Typically green and purple do not blend together well, but with a little patience and effort, the colors gradually start making a new color that falls somewhere in between. As luck would have it, my camera stopped filming while I took the panel and flicked some water onto it so the ink would react with the water. I wanted to create some stars onto the night sky, so I grabbed my Copic opaque white and put some onto a small acrylic block and added a bit of water to it. With a paintbrush, I flicked some stars onto the background and then set it aside to dry. That's when I had an epiphany. I decided I wanted to create a window with the spider web in the top corner of it. My panel was not quite the size of the opening that I would need to cut from the black panel of cardstock, so you'll see how I fix that a little bit later on. I cut my spider web and spider from white cardstock and then used a mini foam blender to color my spider black. The spider web was staying white but thought it needed a bit of sparkle, so I gave it a generous coat of Wink of Stella. Once it was dry, I used spray adhesive to adhere it to the sky panel. Next, I added my sentiment from the Happy Halloween stamp set in black, giving it a good double stamp so that it really stood out. I used VersaFine ONYX black ink for the sentiment. That tends to be my go-to ink for sentiment stamping because the ink is so black and it stamps so clean and crisp. Using the MISTI for stamping sentiments is really a foolproof way to get it right. There's nothing worse than making a mistake, especially when you're this far into your card. Again, using a cloth when you close the door on the MISTI to rub over the stamped sentiment or image helps you ensure good coverage of your ink. Again, using a cloth when you close the door on the MISTI to rub over the stamped sentiment or image helps ensure good coverage of ink. A quick double stamp of the sentiment is also easy to do using your MISTI and creates a perfect bold sentiment. The spider web was off the panel, so I trimmed it with a pair of scissors before I put the panel behind the frame. By adhering the bottom portion of the frame, I was able to slip my panel in behind. This allowed me to center everything up into the frame. It might not have been the cleanest way to do this, but sometimes you just have to make things work when you've made a mistake. The final piece to finish was to add the spider with a foam dot to give it some dimension, and now my spooky card is done. Thanks for dropping in today, and I hope you have a happy Halloween, and we'll see you next time.